Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Under the Sun and Moon with Michelle and Kes.
This is what, episode 3?
Yes, it is. I am Kes.
I am Michelle.
Yeah, you are. So, last time we talked a lot about college and our experiences with it, and we kind of touched a little bit on kind of what we do for a living, very briefly in there.
Yeah.
Um,
And we introduced ourselves a little bit in the first episode.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, we thought it would be a good idea to talk a little more about our professions as being artists,
Mm-hmm.
and a little more specifically with how money plays into that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't always.
No, it does not.
Do you want to start with you? Or, wow, this chair is loud.
Yeah. Okay. If that's what you want.
I mean,
Okay.
we're both going to talk at some point.
We are, yeah. So, I am a seamstress, dressmaker. I prefer to refer to myself as a dressmaker because I can make valances and drapes, and I hate doing it though. I really do.
Yeah.
And I probably could make a quilt, but it wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
I'm not a quilt maker. That's a whole other set of skills that I don't have. I think people think when you sew, you can sew anything.
Everything. Yeah. Really quickly, can you clarify what a valance is for people who don't know what it is?
By people, you mean you?
Yes.
Okay, so curtains are these things that might cover your window,
Okay.
and a valance just goes across the top,
Okay. Cool.
right?
Yep.
It's decorative mainly. It really doesn't perform any function. The curtains usually perform a function.
Mm-hmm.
The valance generally,
Doesn't.
the only function it might perform is covering up ugly hardware for your curtains.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends upon the situation. Okay, so anyway, that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I've had many jobs in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And as we talked about in the last episode, I have 2 college degrees, and I don't do any work, sort of. That's kind of actually not true. Related to anything that I learned from those degrees.
Uh-huh.
Although I am an artist, I'm definitely also an anthropologist, like all the time.
Yes, you are.
That's very much who I am. And so my art has changed over the years. I've drawn and I have painted. I don't really do sculpture.
I was about to ask, were you ever into really like 3D-ish
Well, I am
stuff?
now. All
I
I
know,
do
but
is
like
3D
before.
now.
now.
I was into it, but I couldn't do what I wanted to do because if I could do sculpture, I would do big stuff
Oh,
like-
okay.
in the lawn.
Oh,
big stuff.
nice.
Yeah,
That sounds fun.
yeah,
I cannot.
yeah.
I cannot. I actually said this to you yesterday. I cannot think in 3D to save my life. It's not possible for me.
Yeah, I like the challenge.
Okay, sure.
And I'm one of those people that dreams in color, and I can remember my dreams and go back to them, and there's like a whole storyline kind of thing. So, yeah, I like working in 3D, but now I sew. I do sewing for people,
Yeah.
like for clients, and I hate doing it.
Yeah.
But I really got into this business so that I could sew things that I enjoy.
Uh-huh.
And my mother, too. We make things that we like, and then we see if other people like them, and then we try to sell them to other people.
Right.
Obviously, one of the biggest things has been capes.
Oh, yeah.
People love capes and cloaks.
Those are my favorite.
They're very versatile.
Yeah. And anybody can wear them.
Yeah. And so, and when I say business, I don't mean like an official, I don't have any paperwork. I'm still self-employed.
You're freelance.
I'm very, and we make almost no money.
Right.
We were getting ready to go real, to file all the paperwork and all that.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, the pandemic hit. I hate it when people say COVID because it's really not. It's the pandemic. You know?
There's different variations of
Well, COVID is the inflammatory disease that you develop if you contract the virus and are susceptible enough to develop
Right, but
coronavirus inflammatory disease. That's what the ID part of it comes from.
Right, but there's different versions of coronaviruses.
That's correct. Yeah.
So, yeah.
But anyway, the pandemic hit and we all got shut down, and we were just attending craft shows, and that was our main outlet to reach out to people. We have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page.
Stefanik Land Custom Sewing.
Stefanik Land Custom Sewing. Family Mementos.
Family Mementos with an O, not an E.
No, with an E, not an O.
With an E, not an O.
Mementos, not Momentos.
The reason I say that is because I made their logo, and they printed it on their business cards, they put it on their website, and I spelt Mementos wrong because I thought it was Moment.
No, you thought you thought it was Mementos.
And not Mementos.
Because it's related to memory.
Yeah, but I thought of moment.
I know. And a lot of people do it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a very common mistake.
Yeah. This chair.
So, the pandemic hit and all of those kinds of events were canceled. Although farmers markets eventually were still allowed, and so some people in our field, I guess in the craft field.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't want people to think crafty like home crafts. This is more like a craft, a skill.
Would you say trade?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Like a trade.
Okay.
Yeah, because it takes a long time to learn it. It's something that you build upon. It's not something that most people can just sit down and do.
Yeah, I've tried. Doesn't work.
I also do other hand-based crafts that are traditional to women.
Yeah, you do a lot of crocheting.
I crochet. I do a lot of crocheting. I can do hand embroidery. I sew by hand as well as by machine all the time.
Yeah.
It's really a skill that I think every sewist needs to have. Yeah.
You hand sewed most of my wedding dress together.
Yes, because it's lace and it had heavy beading on it, and it wouldn't run through a machine. It's just a machine would have been the wrong way to put it together. So
yeah,
sometimes that's what's required.
I know. My dress is awesome, by the way, and not because you're sitting here.
Just because your butt looked great.
Yeah, my back, my butt, yeah.
What do you say? It looked
banging.
It looked banging. And I worked on that to make sure that you got what you wanted.
Thank you.
But
uh-oh.
Yep.
What's the sitch? Oh, I wonder if that gets copywritten. I hope not.
I know.
Both my mom and I have the Kim Possible ringtones for our text messages. Because Kim Possible is fantastic. But I don't necessarily know what the copyright laws or rules are for.
I don't know either.
Things like that.
It is a Disney show, right?
It is.
So probably be screwed.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. She's my favorite superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to make one of her super suits. I totally want to wear that.
I do. Yeah. I mean, I'm wearing one of the shirts kind of right now.
We're gonna have to do that, and we're gonna have to do a con. So that's one of the things I always wanted to do was a Comic-Con, but not able to do that right now. That's really been heavily scaled back still, and not really running to any point. And I don't know what it looks like in the future. I know people are waiting for us to get back to what is quote unquote normal, but that's not ever going to happen. I don't think.
I don't think so either.
People talk about the new normal.
I was talking to one of my professors, and I actually told him, I was like, the normal that people want us to go back to is kind of gross. I didn't actually realize how gross humans can be until this happened. You know what I mean?
Like blowing out candles on a birthday cake and spitting all over food that someone else is supposed to eat.
And not literally not washing your hands after you leave the bathroom. Not covering your face when you sneeze or when you cough. Wow. There's a lot of things I didn't realize was just gross. But anyway.
It depends upon your culture.
Yeah.
Singaporeans would have thought we were gross all along.
No, sure. But I realize how we are just because of the world that I myself am surrounded in.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So now we need to find a new way to make money.
Right.
But still because we have people that contact us through Facebook. As I mentioned in the other episodes, I'm 50.
Mm-hmm.
My mom just had a birthday, and she's over 70.
Mm-hmm.
And we've put a lot of time and effort into it, and we have the machines, we have fabric, and we want to make things, and we really love working with clients. But it's sometimes hard to find clients, and we're trying to master this thing called social media. It's hard to make a post every single day. I gotta tell you, it's a good thing you're a professional photographer because my pictures are not good.
Oh, jeez.
No, I hate them.
I'm sorry.
I feel like I need to take everything outside, but we do live in a basement with very little light.
Yeah.
So they're really bad. But that's where the machines are. That's where the work is happening.
Yeah.
I can't just pick everything up and take it outside, and I can't open a curtain.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally just not enough light.
Yeah, which is no one's fault.
But it's hard to take pictures then for social media, and you need to post often.
Yeah.
Like, we seem to have plateaued. I don't have any new likes, and we don't have any new followers.
The only reason that I feel like not the only reason, but I feel like one of the big reasons that I have gained more followers and more likes is by making Instagram reels and TikToks.
Right, but you're also younger. I
am in a other age group.
Yeah. And you're in a very visual, I'm in a very visual field, but we're still trying to work that out. So I'm still trying to figure that out. Your aunt, by the way, thinks that I could be an Instagram influencer because your grandmother and I do very unusual things.
Yeah.
They're not the kind of things that most people would take on. For example, we just dyed a dress for someone, like a whole dress, and I dyed it with tea.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And she looked and looked and looked for someone to do it and couldn't find anyone to do it. And this person who I've known for a long time called us, and I was like, sure, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. I think my aunt's right. I still think you could do it.
She wants me to make videos of all the things that we do, and I don't even have the equipment for that. Like, I don't know how people do that.
Okay, you're
and when I make my videos, you say they're too long.
Well, yeah, because so I'm not saying that to be rude.
I know I'm not. I don't think you're being rude. I just literally can't figure out how to squeeze everything into, what is it? Is it a minute?
For TikTok, you can go for a minute.
I'm not doing TikTok. That shit's never happened.
For an Instagram reel, you can do at max 30 seconds.
Oh, God, no.
And then for IGTV, I think it's like 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, so all of my videos are IGTV.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's a problem. It's what I've been told.
Yeah.
Although the videos did get watched, I don't know how I'm supposed to work and sew all the time and make video of it.
Uh-huh.
I literally don't have the equipment for that.
Yeah. I kind of pivoting over to me, like, I'm a photographer.
Right.
I will photograph anything with people. Portraits, branding, couples. Not necessarily weddings.
Yeah.
Not a huge wedding photography doing fan.
Right.
Weddings are great, fantastic, but I don't want to photograph them.
Especially big weddings.
Oh, no.
If it was a small...
Like an elopement?
Right.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Or like a wedding with less than 50 people. That is also great. Let's see, at least today, I feel like when people talk about photographers and stuff, they're like, oh, you must be like a Photoshop whiz on the side. And I'm like, no. I think that's literally just wind.
It is. It's very windy.
They're like, you must be fantastic with Photoshop. And I'm like, I am not.
Right.
It's not my gig. It's not, like, I like editing photos to be as realistic as possible or to make them not necessarily dramatized, but more beautified, if that's a word. Like...
What do you mean?
Okay, so when I think of a photographer that pops into my head right now, a lot of their highlights are white. They use really bright white. Like when they're outside, they use it in their backgrounds. They use it in the highlights on people's skin. They they just use really light pastel-y colors and lights.
I assume everyone they photograph is Caucasian then?
Most of them, yes.
Okay.
But for me, I don't do that because when I say beautify, I mean I saturate.
Warmth.
Yes. Okay. I really love warm photos because if you look alive, that's the point.
Okay. Well, that's always nice, you know.
Because I've seen...
Cropping? Cropping it correctly? Is that part of what you're talking about? Because that's not really altering the photo.
I do... Okay, let me make this easier. I crop. I color balance, quote unquote. I add warmth. I really like playing with the highlights and shadows that are already existing in the photo.
Okay.
I don't like putting things in photos that aren't already there, but I will take things out if I think they're unnecessary.
How do you feel about making me thinner in a photo?
Not cool. I am not doing that. I
asked that question on purpose because I knew the answer.
Yeah. So
you're one of those photographers that, let's just say you think everyone is attractive. Everyone has beauty.
Because they are.
Okay.
And because they do.
And so your job is just to capture that.
Right.
Okay.
I come from I think in my place of business, for me specifically, I kind of come at photos from a very documentary journalistic standpoint because I also, like, styled shoots are fun. Like, I will absolutely do them. But if I can just, like, naturally, like, unstaged, unposed, on anything, just have a moment happen and I happen to capture it, that is, like, the golden moment for me.
Okay.
So, like, I specialize in portraits, but I also know how to specialize. They say specialize as if I do it all the time. I don't, but I have been trained a lot in using a studio, so I know how to use artificial light, but I don't like using it almost at all.
Yeah, I know that most of the time when you photograph people, you photograph them outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can, or even, like, if I can get them in a place, like, in their own house, not now because COVID, but, like...
Things because COVID.
Sorry, I didn't mean... I know you just said it.
No, it's true.
If I can, like, get them in their house or, like, their place of business or, like, just a space indoors with really good window lighting, that is great. Like, that's awesome. Like, I think this room has really nice lighting. I think...
Yeah, there's a lot of big windows. There's 5 windows in this room, and 4 of them are huge.
Yeah, and another reason that I like it is because the white of the walls reflects the light around the room, so it naturally just makes it lighter in here.
Right.
But if I can, like, put someone next to a window, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't really like photo manipulation.
Right.
Like, there's this one photographer that I follow that most of her images are completely made in Photoshop, and they are gorgeous. I don't do that.
Right. So, how do we make money?
I, at the moment, don't.
Right. But you're just starting out. I mean, you haven't even graduated yet.
No, I haven't.
You have made money.
I have,
as
just
a
not
photographer. Just
not
at the
recently.
Present, I don't even think you would have the time.
No, I wouldn't.
To take pictures of anyone yet.
I'm open for booking. And I'm booking all the way through 2022. But in terms of making shoots happen, I would not be able to actually start doing them until June or July.
Right.
Because I graduate on, like, not the last weekend in May, but the weekend before. Right?
Yeah, yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So, I just, yeah. And then, yeah,
So let's talk about this.
Okay.
Because this is, like, I don't know if we want to go down this road. I have a huge pet peeve, as you know.
Yes.
When it comes to being an artisan,
a
skilled craftsperson with what people expect to pay for services.
Yeah, I do too.
So, and I know that you and I have gone over this a lot, and you have the benefit at least of having lived with me.
Yes.
Right, and so I've sat down with you and gone over some of these pricing structures with you.
Yeah.
And you're on the low end.
I am, yeah.
And not on a novice end. I mean,
you're right, yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely you're highly skilled, and
Thank you.
should be at this point.
Yeah.
Because you have extensive education in the field and experience.
Yeah, but
you haven't worked yourself up to like that $350 an hour range. So right now you're at $200 an hour.
Yes, I am.
Right.
Which, it's I think because I have a flat rate at the moment.
It's really the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I know people want packages, but I don't think they understand that all they have to do is take the number of hours they want and multiply it by your hourly rate, and
right.
they can have that's basically going to be the package.
Yeah, you know? Like I have package ideas.
Right.
That I'm not going to disclose yet.
Right.
But I would just literally tack it on to my hourly rate that I already have. So I wouldn't actually make it like, if you do like an hour of this, I can also give you this for an extra blah blah blah.
Right.
But that's not. It would just be the way I would see it is it would be more of an extension than a package. Because you're extending off of something that already exists.
Have you had anyone comment about your hourly rates?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. I have had people. Well, actually, here's a funny thing. For the longest time, when people asked me, like when I was freshman, sophomore, junior in college, I had people ask me, "So what's your hourly?" And every single time I would be like, "Gee, that's a great question." It wasn't until recently.
And then you called me.
Yeah, and I was like, "What do I do?" And it wasn't until recently when I actually started doing my business that I've put a number to it, and I've had not people necessarily come to me directly, but I've seen people pay for other services, other photography services, and be like, I just paid I just paid. Oh, what was the one? I saw a tweet about it or something. Oh no. A photographer tweeted about it, and she said, I charged a bride $2,000 for her 10-hour wedding.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They made like no money.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. And the bride complained and didn't pay her, so the photographer had to sue.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. Actually, it was a video. I can show you the video later. I'm not going to say the name because that's not my place.
No.
But, yeah, she made a video about it, about how she, like, charged this person for the wedding, and the bride said it was too much, so she didn't pay her, and then it turned into a whole legal thing. I'm so sorry. At my college, we have what's called the Kes curse. And one of my friends, who is my favorite model, just asked me if I could do photos for her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she just texted me. It came up on my watch. Sorry.
I know who that person is.
Yeah, she's great. So nobody's come to me specifically about what my prices are, but I feel like once they become more public, I think I'll have some people saying things and having concerns.
But I have photography friends on Instagram who saw your rates and applauded them and thought that they were good rates.
Thank you. That's coming from people in the field, though.
Right. So here's the thing. This is really the point of the conversation. Let's get to the crux of it.
Sure.
People knowing what they're worth. Knowing their own value.
I know that.
And it's not just when you're an artisan. I think that here's my rant. And I'm not going to do the rant. I'm just going to
say it. I'm just going to kind of like just.
I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just going to kind of like just. I'm just corporations have conditioned people for so long to feel like they have to take a certain rate of pay or they will let them go.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually happened to you recently. Not with a certain rate of pay, but you were like, I need my hours
Yeah.
from a large multinational chain.
Yeah.
I need my hours reduced because I just didn't realize how busy I was going to be with school. And once I'm done with school, I can have more hours.
Yeah.
And they said no.
I didn't even really ask for like an hour cut. I asked for an hour change.
Mm-hmm.
Because I told them I couldn't do weekends anymore because I needed those weekends to work on my capstone.
Right.
And they said no.
Right. And then you said, well, then
I can't work for you.
And they said, okay.
Okay.
And they let you go.
Yeah.
But they're having a serious staffing issue right now. And I'm tired of seeing in the news that companies are looking for jobs and they say there's no one out there. That's completely not true.
Right.
They need to pay more money.
Yes, they do.
They just simply do.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know, I went through it with a company that I worked with. I've been through it many times in different circumstances. And they can't tell you they don't have any money because that is a big load of bull.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure that they have investors that they, you know, have to provide a certain return to, or their stock value will change.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my problem.
Mm-mm.
But do not put out into the media that you A, can't find anyone to do the job.
Right.
Or B, there isn't anyone qualified. Don't even get me started on the way on the way they hire people with these stupid, you know, like software packages where they review you and I get letters back that I'm not qualified. I've actually done the job.
Or like the job is classified or like categorized as being entry level, but they want 10 years of experience.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous stuff. So anyway, people are conditioned to think that they're not good enough. You are.
Yeah.
Anyone who's listening, you are good enough and you are worth more.
Uh-huh.
More. Yes. So, I actually did alterations for a large national chain.
Yes, you did.
A bridal chain.
Yes, you did.
Not that there are a lot of them.
You did it twice, in fact.
Well, I did sales one time and I did alterations. I did alterations first. That was the longest time I worked for them.
Okay.
And with sales, I made like no money at all. It was terrible.
Yeah, I know.
And your dad was really sick and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what was going on. But anyway, so to get back to one of the things you had said, when we had customers who needed alterations, they got a fitting for free. We didn't charge them for our time.
Yep.
And then we went through everything that they needed from head to feet. And I never, ever try to put in extra fees.
Right.
I never tell people they need a hem if they don't need a hem.
Right.
I never try to adjust anything if it wasn't needed. Because that's just more work for me.
Right.
It's ridiculous. I would never do that.
Yeah.
It's also unethical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which you know is a big thing for me.
Yes.
Ethics are very, very important to me. So we charged $60 an hour.
Yep.
And everything was figured out so that you knew exactly how long it would take, how many minutes, and that was where the pricing came from.
Yeah.
And we made people pay upfront.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to sewing, no matter whether you work for a large chain or you work out of the back of a dry cleaners, which is a lot of places, you know, places that will take in your laundry, they'll offer certain services that for anything from replacing buttons to shortening your pants to taking something in or possibly letting something out.
Sure, yeah.
People, A, don't want to pay up front, and B, if you don't make them, when they come back, they feel that your price is negotiable.
Yeah.
I don't know why they think that. People don't do that at the mechanics.
No.
I
mean, if they do, I don't know about it.
I don't know about you, but when you go to a mechanic, their rate is posted on the wall, regardless of whether it's a small mom and pop garage or it's a big chain tied to a multinational car manufacturer.
Right.
or a nationwide car manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're talking like $105 an hour.
Yeah. Is it I don't mean to cut you off.
So, I don't understand why they think it's negotiable for other people.
Is it because it's not... Okay, I was thinking, is it because it's machinery? Is it because it's, like, people are willing to pay more things if the thing itself, like, is going to cost more money or something? I don't know.
Well, your car is important.
Yeah.
For most people, they need it to get to work. Mm-hmm. They need it to take their kids to school.
Go to the grocery store.
Yeah. Sports events, band practice, arts, dance, whatever the case may be.
Drive someone somewhere for an emergency.
Yeah, anything. Your car is very expensive. So maybe that might be part of it. But I think that the bigger part of it is got a couple of different layers to it. Number one, if I charge $60 an hour, people think I'm making $60 an hour.
You are not.
Right, but when you're self-employed, that $60 an hour goes to pay for maintenance of machinery. We have to get scissors sharpened. We are constantly buying needles and thread
and fabric.
Yeah, all kinds of things. Although the fabric can be specific to a customer if they need a lot of fabric.
Right. Like, I've known, like, when people ask me about my rates, the $200 an hour is for the photos, the editing software, the computer, the camera, the lenses. Like, it's not...
But it's also, I think that people forget about the editing time. Like, if you spend 2 hours taking pictures of someone for a branding photo session, how long do you spend working on those photos before you even send them to the customer?
Probably around 6.
Okay, so there's 8 hours. So you've charged $200 an hour.
Right.
But now that comes down to...
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, and I don't think people realize that. So that's one part of it. Someone's like, geez, I make... And I usually get arguments from people who make a lot of money. Like, a lot of attorneys and doctors seem to feel like they can argue these things. But people, I think in their heads are like, well, I make $25 an hour, which, by the way, is $50,000 a year. What makes this person think they can charge me $60 an hour?
Is it entitlement? Is that what it is?
No, I think it's that they want $60 an hour for themselves.
Oh.
And they're trying to figure out how in the heck I'm making this up, this situation. That, I think, is one thing where people look at, when they find out what you're charging, they make an instant mathematical equation, and they look at me and they think I'm making $120,000 a year.
Right.
When really last year I lost $7,000.
Right.
I made no money at all, and I spent money that I had from the previous year left over to help support the business during coronavirus.
Right.
The pandemic. So that's one element, and then I think the other element is when people want to argue about pricing, it's because they don't actually know how it works.
Or when they want to argue about pricing because they're your family member, they're your friend, they want the discount, they want the things for free because, hey, we're friends, can you do me a favor kind of thing? You know how often I get that?
And people, I think, do it more often with artists. It seems to be a complaint that we get, that we share with each other.
Yeah, like
a lot. And we have a family friend who's a musician, and he's actually posted about this many times. Like, no, I don't need exposure.
No, I can.
Yeah.
I
don't need the exposure, quote unquote. I'm not going to do this event for free.
Can you tell that you struck a nerve with me?
Yeah.
Because I've had people from all over, just different walks of life, tell me and ask me, hey, can you photograph such and such thing for me? And I can pay you in practice.
Right.
I almost vomited when they asked me.
When someone comes to me and they say, can you make me something? I'm looking for X. Can you make this? Yes.
And
then if they're also a creator,
uh-huh.
sometimes, like I made a comforter for someone and I got a really nice handmade custom leather belt.
Oh yeah, you guys traded.
Yep. So we totally bartered.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think that's fun.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
I am.
I have had a lot of people, like, it's different. I know this kind of sounds weird, but it's different when someone asks me to do photos for them for the sake of paying me an exposure or paying me in practice, or I can do it for them because they're my friend or something, versus me asking if I can take photos of them for the sake of my portfolio. Those are not the same thing.
Do you think that people say the same thing to men? Because I do think that one of my problems is that I'm in an industry that's largely peopled by women. And women have traditionally been paid very poorly for the work that they do, especially if it's considered to be traditional, quote-unquote, women's work, like sewing.
Yeah.
Originally, men were the ones working at sewing machines, but once women broke into the industry and they realized that they could pay women less, it has always been that way. One of the things that got me on this recently was I was just looking up, like, seamstress sewing rates for 2021, and I had seen a couple of different articles that people had posted.
Yep.
And they were talking about charging people $10 to $12 an hour. One person actually charged, or I don't think they realized it, but they were talking about actually, like you offer your photography. You were talking about some people want photo packages.
Yeah.
They just want to know they want X for X amount of dollars.
Sure.
So this person was talking about, like, replacing a zipper in a pair of pants and charging, I think they said, like $15 for it. Okay, well, the zipper alone, if you buy it fairly cheaply,
it's more than $15.
Well, no, it's probably going to run about $7.
Oh, okay.
So, what, you're going to replace a zipper for $8? Like, why do people think their skill is of so low value?
I will say something, actually. At least in my industry.
And all these articles are written by women, by the way. Go ahead.
Okay. I feel like in the world that I work in, not even just in photography, but in cinematography, because those two go extremely close together, I feel like I hear more men talking about how good it is to do the practice work, do the exposure work, do the free shoots for people just to build your portfolio than I do women. I hear a lot of women turning that idea down because there's this one guy who I really like as a cinematographer and a photographer. Again, I'm not gonna say his name because that's not my place. But he does a lot of, like, he's what I call a gearhead. He is, like, all about having a lot of cameras, a lot of the best cameras. He's an ambassador for Canon, I will say that.
Okay.
So this guy is comfy.
Right.
But I have heard him before say to do all, like, if somebody offers or asks you to do photos for them for free and you feel like it would be good for your portfolio or you want the practice or they say they would do it for exposure, to do it. But I have heard other women photographers and cinematographers say to not do it because you are worth more.
Right. Because
you literally won't get anything out of it except for photos and then you lose money.
Well, there's been before the pandemic hit, I had, I've had a career in the science field before. I worked in a museum for almost a decade. And so I follow a lot of science information in the world, online. I read research articles and just science news. And I have had many, many interns over the years. And there was at least a big push before the pandemic to stop offering internships for free. To stop making people work for free.
I did that.
Because it starts out with this concept that you have no value. Even though the reality is, like in your case, And I know she's a lovely woman.
No, yeah.
So this is not about her.
No, yeah.
But let's take that equation out of it. You had already been a photography student for 2 years. This person was not taking on an intern who knew nothing.
Yeah.
This person was taking on an intern who had been studying art and photography specifically for 2 years before they took them on as an intern.
Right.
So you're already sending people this message that they have no value. And a lot of places that do this are corporations and government.
Yeah.
The kind of people that should not be doing this kind of thing.
Which was interesting because she is a self-employed woman.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I thought that was interesting. Also, it is really common for people, like, at least at my college and in my industry, I don't know about all of them, but it is really common for artisans, people like us, to be given these internships but not to be paid for them. And I don't know why.
Because it's just what you talked about. They feel like you get the experience,
well,
you
yeah,
get the exposure, even though you really don't get any exposure because the photos that you took when you were an intern
belong to
are not
her.
yours. They belong to her.
Which I still have some. But
Right.
yeah. They're some of the best photos I've done, too, which is really frustrating.
Because you had an opportunity to photograph frequently. So,
yeah.
you know, it was just one of those. But anyway, the point is that there are a couple of things at play. And I would really like to see people start to buck against those sort of things and say, no, I'm not doing an internship for free. Like, what would your college do if all of the students got together and said, you're requiring us to have an internship? Fine. I'm not doing one unless I get paid. How many students have you known that have had to stay somewhere else and find a place to live? Were away from their family, therefore, and couldn't buy food.
Oh my God.
Or had to pay for travel to get there.
You've listed most of my friends.
To get back home.
And, you know.
But the school is requiring an internship.
Right.
If
they
you're
were
going to require it, you need to make sure that your students are getting paid.
Right.
Because then you're also teaching your students that they have value, that the skills that you have been giving them for 2 or 3 years, because you have colleagues that have been doing internships at the end of their junior year. You did yours at the end of your sophomore year. But there are people at the end of their junior year, and they are not getting paid.
One of my, actually, two of my colleagues now are seniors. They finished their internship last month. Did not get paid.
Right.
Neither of them.
We need to stop doing that.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
I think that I know a lot of people actually at my college who aren't artisans or artists. Okay, take that back. I know a lot of people at my college who are not studying artisans or studying artists who have internships in their field, such as science, law, human services, counseling, where they do get paid. Because, like, I will say this, I have 2 friends that you know very well, who are in a field that require them to stay at the location that they are interning with, live there, and be working for them 6 days a week.
Yeah, it's providing a service that is needed by the company.
And they are getting paid a stipend.
Right.
So, yeah. That also bothers me.
A stipend's not bad.
No,
I've
it's
seen
not.
good stipends. It depends upon the stipend.
Yeah, like, for the internship, it's 120 hours required.
Yeah, it's a lot of hours.
For 3 credits.
Yeah.
At my college.
And you did far more than 120 hours.
I did, yeah.
Because you needed to.
Yeah, because I was working off the clock. I was traveling a lot.
Yeah, that didn't count toward your internship hours. I guess we're getting off track here.
We are.
But anyway, the point is that it sets up an expectation of either low value or no value.
Yeah.
It's just like what we learned, you know, they tell you this in the museum industry and other cultural locations. If you don't charge people anything, they think you're worth nothing.
Right. And also kind of going back to what you said earlier about like sewing and dressmaking is not something that you can really sit down and do, like, and just have it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I am in a place where people have told me, me personally, and all of my friends who are photographers and cinematographers, oh, I can get paid for that and do it too. It's just pressing a button. That phrase is so frustrating.
It's also degrading.
Yeah, because that's something else, is that people feel like, oh, I can also do this too, which means I can do it just as good as you can.
We talked, you know, we talked in episode 1 about the curse of having a phone on your, having a camera on your smartphone, because everyone thinks they're a photographer. No, everyone can take pictures.
Yes.
Not everyone is a photographer.
Yeah.
Although I am in a field where there are not a lot of people that can do what I do. And I know of many other people that are sewists, are creators with textiles and create clothing and costumes and other things with fabric. I mean, there could be, I'm just going to estimate 5 million people in the United States. But there's like 380 million people living in the United States. So it's a very, very tiny percentage of people. And we can't all do the same thing. Yeah. Like I said, I might be able to make a quilt, but it would take me a really long time. I would hate doing it, and I can't guarantee it would be that great.
Right. And so, like, I've also known that you've said this as well. You know a lot of designers who cannot sew.
That's right. Fashion design does not necessarily mean that you are a sewist.
Right. Which I feel like a lot of people get confused.
They do. They really do. And I think Project Runway kind of adds to that.
Yeah, but, well,
I really loved,
what was that one?
Yeah, the British television show, Next in Fashion.
Yes, that was it.
There was only one season. Hopefully it comes back.
Yeah, because
the pandemic affected that. But they actually had professional
designers,
sewists, people who would sew your designs for you. The designer was not expected to actually sew everything. And it makes a huge difference.
Because, like, they talked about how it was more of the business side of it, which I don't really think it was, because they still had the fashion shows and they still had the critiquing of the designs and everything. But I really liked that in terms
especially when that one guy took $300 a yard fabric and beat it up with a hammer. I was like,
God,
I think I'm going to be sick.
Yeah, but there was also something that was really cool about it that we hadn't seen anywhere on TV, showing the business side of fashion design and sewing, is they had these people create their own stores.
Right.
That was awesome.
Yeah, because it requires you to put a lot of thought into...
And it literally lets you value your own stuff.
It also brought actual humans into this pop-up store. And to look at these things and give them feedback from people who are not in the fashion industry. Yeah, some people really loved certain things and buying certain things, and other people were not interested in what the designer thought they might be interested in.
Yeah, but that gave us a look into kind of, not really a real world, kind of, I hate that phrase, the real world. All of it's the real world. But once you graduate high school, you're in the real world now. No, we've always been here.
Yeah, we've always been here.
It's like being able to, like, have them create their own stuff and put it into the store and, like, watch them, like, run the store.
The other thing was that you also saw other components come in. Photography is a big one in fashion because image is very important. Yeah. You know, if people can't see the clothing, they're not going to buy it.
Yeah, interior design.
Although that's not to say that people who are visually impaired walk around naked.
Right, that's true.
But then there are other opportunities available there, like the feel of the textile and things like that. But then they also did graphic design. And they talked about lighting.
Yeah, the interior design of the store itself, like how to lay it out, what clothes go where, how the mannequins are, like, placed and stuff.
Is there a mannequin? What do you?
Some people had real models walking around their stores.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn it, where'd we go?
But there are other elements to the business.
There's other elements.
Just like with
to all
photography. Okay, so
businesses.
let's talk about a recent assignment that you had.
Yeah.
You were given an assignment, which I know you didn't enjoy, but I thought it was a very good assignment for someone in a profession.
Yeah.
You were given the assignment to design.
You're smiling at me.
Design a studio.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. So you had to think about lighting.
Yep.
Like, just, do you want windows? Do you not want windows? You had to think about an office. Do you, you know, you had to think about when clients meet with you, where do they go?
Is there a bathroom?
Yeah. Is there a bathroom? What's the purpose of the bathroom?
Yep.
Is there a changing room?
Yep.
For people to change clothing in? You know, how big is it? What does it look like? Where do you keep your cameras and your lenses and your equipment in this studio?
Yeah. Is there a studio period? Because I
Yeah.
know that there are a lot of photographers who don't have one and they just have an office as a home base.
And then one of the things that I talked about to you on the side, which I know your professor didn't think about, but you should really bring this up in conversation,
Yeah.
is that your studio is not just a space when you're a photographer that works with people off-site.
Uh-huh.
She's thinking in her head as a painter,
Yeah.
but your studio, you need a vehicle.
Yep.
It needs to be a particular kind of vehicle so you can carry certain pieces of equipment around with you.
Yep.
And every time you go to shoot photos, I know you take at least one or more changes of clothing.
Yep.
One or more changes of shoes.
Yep.
You try to figure out if you're going to be able to charge any devices nearby if they're somewhere with power.
Do I need to bring my computer to back up images?
Yeah, you need to plan food.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those other elements are part of your studio.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's also part of the business.
Yeah.
That's part of the expense.
That people don't really think
about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at what we recently purchased, your grandmother and I.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's actually a makeup cart. It's a rolling makeup cart. That's what it's meant for.
It's super convenient.
Yeah, but, you know, what do we have in there? I have measuring tapes and standard threads like black and white. I have clippers. I have a pair of scissors. We have business cards. And,
yeah. You have bags in the bottom.
Yeah, bags. Stickers to put on the bags because we like to use plain brown paper bags because they're environmentally friendly.
Yep.
I don't use anything with plastic on them, but we do have stickers for labels, and
yeah.
We also have things like lip balm, hand cream,
yeah,
wipes.
Yeah.
And this was before the pandemic. We always brought cleansing wipes with us.
Yeah.
We have hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we, you know, cart around with us. So there are multiple, you know, elements to keep in mind, and that's all part of the business.
Yep.
And all part of the business expense.
You know what I need to bring with me?
What?
Glasses cleaner.
Oh, yeah. Eyeglass cleaner is a big one. You know what else we've traveled with when we've done some of these craft shows?
What?
Toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's nothing like getting into a porta-john and not having any toilet paper. Just gonna put that out there for you people. You heard it here first.
Yeah. I do want to throw this out there. Like, I am another thing. First of all, I am super grateful to be able to be a business owner, a freelance business owner, and just start doing what I do.
Right.
But there is one thing that always comes up and is kind of an impeding thing on my business as to why I don't get a lot of business right now, is that I am young.
Right, so age is... But you know what? I'll tell you this. Age is always a factor.
I know that, but I think it's particularly in the area that I have my business grounded in.
I don't think so.
I think it is, because a lot of the people in this area know me outside of being a photographer and a business owner. They know me as being Kes. They've known me since they were a kid. They've known me in classes. They've known me around the town and stuff like that. I think it's because they've seen me grow that they keep in this idea that I am...
There's always something to be said about trying to bounce out of your home court.
Yes.
You know, and get those feelers out elsewhere. My point is that let's say that someone is a just getting into the field of professional photography.
Sure.
They've done something else. They retired. Their kids are grown. They went back to college. How many people in your age group in your 20s are going to hire a 65-year-old guy to photograph their wedding?
I mean,
ageism is always there.
Yeah.
Me
personally, I would. But I know other people that wouldn't.
Right, but you're you.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
I just like people. I don't care how old you are.
We need to fight against those kinds of things constantly.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, I've had people be very confused and not really take me seriously when I say that I own my own business, because they're like, "Oh, how old are you?" That's usually the first question they ask.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "I'm 21, turning 22 in a few months." And they're like, "Oh, that's cute." And I'm like, "Oh, ouch. It's not cute. It's real."
Maybe they've never heard of Richard Branson.
Well.
Yeah. Or Justin Bieber.
Or any, like, child Disney star.
Yeah, and there's a whole industry behind them, but that's not to say that they're not a professional because they're a kid.
Right. Or what's the, oh my god, what's her name? The dance star, or dance mom's ex-person.
I got nothing for you.
Sorry, this is my world. Jojo Siwa. She used to be on Dance Moms, which I have never seen.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason I know she exists is because she has made an entire industry just out of, like, her personality, and she makes music, and she's a YouTuber, and she dances, and she's just, like, this huge, like, bubbly, colorful person.
Mm-hmm.
She's great. But she's 17. And she has an entire, like, she runs her own business and just does what she does. And people, I mean, I don't know. I'm not that in tune with how she operates, but
right.
Clearly people take her seriously if she's making millions of dollars.
What about Amanda Gorman? She's young.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know?
She's great.
She is great because she has managed to be young. And
did you just look her up? Is that who it was?
Yeah, and transition. Yeah. I had her first name in my head. I couldn't pull her last name out.
Yeah. But
she's managed to be young and transition still to people not being like, well, she's young.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, so but I'm sure it, before the inauguration, there were times when it was really challenging, and they were like, well, first of all, poetry is not, something that's mainstream. I think it is now.
I love poetry.
Thanks to her.
Yeah. I've loved poetry for a long time.
But it's not mainstream.
No, it's not.
And she's young, and she's managing to be a professional poet and being taken seriously. So, but it shouldn't be the one and only,
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that you have to prove yourself over and over again every single day doing the same thing. It shouldn't be that you can't change.
If I feel like I need to take on a part-time or a full-time job just to support my family, I will. But if I can never have to do that, I won't. Because I want to be able to make my business bring in income to support my family.
There's no reason that you can't.
No, I know there's no reason that I can't.
No, what I'm saying is there's no reason that you can't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it as your mom.
No, yeah.
I'm saying it as this person that is a little bit older than you and has more experience and is saying to people, you are worth more.
Yeah.
Stop settling for less.
It's also
the powers that be
Yeah.
want us all to settle for less.
Yeah.
That's why racism is sitting in the horrible hole that it's in right now, why we constantly have to fight and try to get equality for people, because the powers that be want people to settle for less.
Yeah. There's actually, you just reminded me of this book that I just read for class. It's called The Fifth Season, and it is by, let's see, it is by N.K. Jemisin. And the very first, like, the dedication page of this book says, like, for all of those who have to fight for the respect that everyone else is given without question. So, to be able to just, like, kind of what you just said, that like, that's what it reminded me of. Because you shouldn't have to fight for things to be human.
Right.
And just like we shouldn't have to, like, fight for things to be able to own our own businesses.
Or just make a decent living no matter what you do.
Yeah, no matter who you are, either.
We keep having this conversation nationally about the $15 an hour minimum wage. $15 an hour.
Yep.
Is nothing.
No. And also, the gender pay gap.
Yeah.
Why?
And it continues to happen. Not just the gender pay gap, but just, and the gender pay gap looks at people who do the same job, but looks at what men are paid versus what women are paid. Let's talk about the gender pay gap and talk about fields that more women work in than men, because they are just low-paying jobs.
Yep.
And women are taking them. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how they are complaining that there are still millions of women missing, quote unquote, from the workforce since the pandemic began, because they need to be home because their kids aren't in school full time and someone's got to take care of the kids, and they want to know how to get those women back into the workforce. I got an idea. How about you pay them a decent rate of pay?
Right.
I'm talking like $25, $30, $35 an hour. Some people might think that's a lot of money. I'm telling you, it's not.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, they need to get health care coverage.
Yeah.
Full bore. And it not cost $1,000 out of their monthly paycheck.
You know,
they need to have 4 weeks at minimum of paid vacation. Everyone, not just women, everyone. The stupid 2 weeks of personal time off or paid time off per year that some of these corporations, lots of these corporations are getting away with, I call bullshit on.
Yeah.
They need to give people sick time. You need to be able to be ill and not be at work and not have someone say you're not getting paid because you're sick. And they do it because they think someone's going to scam the system if they give them unlimited time off.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe you should have management and you should have supervisors that actually know how to supervise and keep track of their staff. I could go on and on and on because I have done it.
You know what I also want people to realize? That the women who are stay-at-home moms, it's a job. You know?
Yeah.
And they should, like...
Maybe they should get some money.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe someone should help them to be at home raising their children.
Yeah.
Maybe someone should make sure that they have enough money for food, that they have a decent roof over their heads.
That they have health
care. Don't even get me started on housing. Why isn't every house in the United States equipped with certain basic things? And I'm not talking about a toilet and running water and maybe electricity.
Right.
Like, why do you think that people should settle for not having a dishwasher? Because if you're a mom and you don't have a dishwasher, you're adding an hour or two of work to her day every single day of the week. And you know, there are dads that stay at home too.
Yeah.
So let's not make this gender specific.
No, yeah. Stay at home
washers
parents.
And dryers? Like,
yeah.
Why can't they do laundry at home?
Yeah.
Why aren't there more laundry services?
I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea.
You know, there are just like so many things that we don't. Vacuum cleaners. Vacuum cleaners should be part of a home. Like when I buy a new house, someone had better put a vacuum cleaner in it, or it should have central vacuuming. I don't understand why there are things that they think people have to live with, like we're somehow less than.
AC and heat.
Air conditioning is a huge one.
Yeah.
I know there are some houses that don't have heat too, like, but they end up needing warmth at some point.
There is winter.
Even in warm climates, there are cold nights.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then they end up trying to get electric space heaters, or worse yet, there are other kind of heaters, but they all run the risk of fire.
Yep.
Why do we make people settle?
Why?
I don't need a solid gold toilet. That's not what I'm asking for.
That'd be funny, but no.
But why do we make people settle?
Why do we make people not? Why do we make people feel like they don't have value in general, even outside of the workforce? What did we do to make this happen?
No, we didn't do personally.
No, I'm not meaning you and I.
But it's a system that's existed for a long time because the haves need have-nots. Because if they make you think you're worth less, they can pay you less, they can give you less.
And they can get more out of you.
They can get more out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm watching that happen with a lot of my friends right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because
we all need to rise up and not take this crap.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I do not and will not, hopefully, ever have to get a part-time job or a full-time job outside of my business ever again.
Well, don't say that you won't, but
not.
The point is, what do we, what? Oh, I lost my train of thought. I hate it when that happens.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Not that you won't ever have to get it. Maybe you'll want a job. Maybe there'll be something that you want to do. Maybe someone will be like, hey, Kes, I got this thing coming up. It's just for 3 months.
Yeah. But I'm saying I don't want to have to,
You don't want to have to deal with industry because you're afraid that they're never going to change their ways.
Right. Because
I think that people should rise up and make more demands and try to get them to change their ways.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be standard for people to have health insurance. It was a regular benefit that people offered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then companies started cutting back on it because it was so expensive.
Sorry. You know what's way more expensive than that?
Training new staff?
Surgery. Seriously, life-saving or emergency surgery should not be something that should be in question when it comes to, healthcare.
It also shouldn't be something that bankrupts people.
It should not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why do we do that? What's wrong with having a socialized medicine system? People say socialism is bad. I'm not saying we have to be socialist.
Right.
But we can borrow elements from different areas and create something customized that works.
Yeah. Because I just...
Isn't that what we do? Isn't that really what Americans do? We just customize everything?
Yes.
Why can't we customize our government? Why can't we customize the way we manage things? What?
Because I don't...
Because you can't make money off of it.
That's true. Yeah. I was gonna say something different and it would sound horrible, so I wasn't gonna say it.
Because people are selfish and mean?
No, because people are sheep.
Well, there are people that are sheep.
Yeah.
We know that. The sheeples.
The sheeples, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just...
Well, it's also scary. It's scary for some people. They don't want to rise up and argue or demand or rock the boat.
Because they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to lose this, that, and the other thing.
They don't want to lose their home. They don't want to lose their job.
Their car.
They don't want to lose their kid.
Yeah.
Because someone who has power always has power over you in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I say we take that power away.
That sounds good.
I'm not asking for a revolution. That's not what I'm saying.
No, but...
That if enough people started demanding more, maybe something would happen.
Yeah. Do you think at the very least we could try and start doing it with ourselves?
We are.
I know, but I don't know. I'm just saying, just to kind of keep it going, I guess.
What do you mean? I don't know.
I'm trying... Okay, hang on a second. I say it in a way of... Okay, let me rephrase that question. Do you think that you and I have enough hope to keep this going because of everything that has happened.
To us?
Yeah. Or do you feel like we have to do it because we don't have a choice?
It's part of the fighter in me. You know, I'm the kind of person that's willing, which is why I'm broke probably, because I'm willing to stand up and go, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah, you have.
I have been at work and had a boss that was demanding. And it was 10 o'clock at night and an hour past the end of my shift, and they were being demanding to another coworker who was a young person who was sobbing in the back stock room because their father was waiting outside and they had a curfew, and there's no cell phones in those days, and she couldn't get a hold of her dad in the parking lot, and the boss was saying, you need to stay here. This needs to get done. And I said, no. This might need to get done in your eyes, but it's not getting done tonight.
Yeah.
And I went over and I called her name. I was probably 6 years older than her at the time. No, I couldn't have been. I was 18 and she was 15. She had her working paper, so I was 3 years older than her.
Oh, okay.
And I took her by the hand and I let her out of the store. And she's like, what if I lose my job? I said, you're not going to lose your job. Because they're violating so many rules by making you stay.
Yeah.
They're never going to fire. And they didn't fire her. And they didn't fire me.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to put up with it.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah. I got stories. And that was in retail.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have hope. I used to joke with your dad that I lack the ability to hope. But I'm a pretty positive person.
I was about to say.
Yeah. I think I believe in myself enough. And I know a lot of really great people. But you and I also know the reality. We know that there are really genuinely evil people in the world. They're real. They exist.
Yeah.
But I think that regardless of that, I will continue to try because that's just in my nature. That's what I do. I was raised this way.
Yeah.
Will you continue to try? Because you do have a certain element of your dad.
Which is?
Well, your father believed that the world was out to get him. And he could walk away from things. He could just get it. And I don't mean like I can mentally put things away and not have them eat a hole in me.
Yeah.
He couldn't do that, but he would just quit. He would just be like, nope.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah. So you gotta learn not to quit.
I think...
Or you're gonna need to quit strategically.
I think that I know that I'm gonna keep going with this. Partially because I am your child. I also have that fight instinct in me to keep going because I know that I can, and because I know that this is what I want and this is what I value doing, and I know my value when it comes to it.
And it's important.
But I also feel like I am going to keep doing this because I said it a few days ago. I know that I have that instinct to just up and quit things. But since Dad passed away and I had that moment of getting hit in the face with realizing how this is going to change me and how it did change me, I am way less of a bullshit tolerator.
Yeah, that's a definite element. Yep.
So, say I do pick up another job because I want it. If someone gives me crap, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Because of the fact of I know how much I am worth and I know my value, but because I know how to take care of me now way better than I used to.
Right.
So it's also for the sake of, I see me keeping this business also as a form of self-care, because this is mine, and this is something
feeds
that,
the soul.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's doing what I love, but also just doing me, really.
Yeah, I see that. You know what? I have an even better answer for you now that I've had a chance to think about it.
Sure.
Because this speaks to who I am. Not just that, I'm a fighter, and I tend not to. I mean, I'm not practicing the definition of insanity, where I just keep trying things and expecting a different result, even though I keep doing the same thing. That I definitely don't do that. I'm willing to change.
Right.
But have you ever heard the saying, "A rising tide lifts all boats"?
Yep.
I like being the tide.
Oh, that's good.
I really, really do. I don't need to be lifted. I don't need to be the boat.
Mm-hmm.
I love being the tide.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really do. It makes me feel good. I get satisfaction out of it.
I do too.
It makes my heart feel good.
My friends, not all of them anymore, but I used to, before Dad passed away, I was the mom friend.
Right.
I was the one that people came to because I was able to give them that push to do things. I was the one telling them not to do stupid shit. I was the one taking care of them when they were sick because they just didn't know how to.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like since that, I am more of a tide for me. And not because people don't ask me to be a tide for them, but because I know how to drive myself better and just do better in general now.
Right.
Because there was a whole, there were years where I was just unmotivated to do anything.
Yeah.
Partially because of my mental health. Actually, almost all of it was because of my mental health.
Yeah, a lot of teenagers are like that too.
Yeah, but I was not willing to do anything. I had no interests. I had no hobbies. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Now that I've reached this point where I've had a hobby and I've had a very life-changing event happen to me, I am my tide. And if somebody needs me to be their tide, and I feel that they are worth my time, not to be an asshole, but I feel that they're worth my time and I genuinely want to help them, I will also push them. But I feel like I have learned more and I've become better at keeping myself ashore for people who don't deserve it from me.
Right.
I think that's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, cool. Yeah. We're at it's 2:40.
Yeah, we need to get out of here. So, any final words?
Don't be afraid to run your own business.
Yeah.
And if you're a woman, do not be afraid to run your own business.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to expect to get paid a reasonable amount for your work.
And also give yourself the value that you deserve, because I know that in the beginning it's hard.
Because if you continue to do these things, whoever you are out there, if you continue to value yourself and talk positively about it to others so that they will continue to value themselves, you too can be the tide.
Yes, you can.
Be the tide.
Be the tide. And that was and will be Under the Sun and Moon with Michelle and Kes.
That is.
We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Bye.